Tonight, we bid farewell to some of our TrojanVision crew.
Plus, we find out more on Troy Fest. Stay tuned. TrojanVision News starts right now.
From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network at Troy, Alabama's International University, this is Troy TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision News for April 25th, 2016. I'm Deborah Bogart.
And I'm Xavier Harris. Thank you for joining us this evening. Troy University honored a former poet laureate of the United States over the weekend at Alabama Book Festival in Montgomery. Kendall Moody has the details from our Montgomery News Bureau.
Trethewey received the Hall Waters Prize from Troy University in conjunction with the Alabama Book Festival this past Saturday.
I'm a major fan of her poetry, and of course I'm a native Mississippian, so I know that world that she writes about, and we essentially grew up on different sides of the race line.
Natasha read from two of her books of poems. One was her 2006 collection, which won the 2007 Pulitzer Prize, which is Native Guard, and the other collection she read from was her 2012 collection, Thaw.
Trethewey presented at the festival discussing her career and the state of the American letters with scholar Lauren Maxwell. Trethewey also read excerpts from some of her books. Natasha Trethewey took her poet laureateship very seriously. She went around the country to talk to people and try to convince them to love or like poetry. Another thing she did is while she was in Washington, she held office hours, unlike many other poet laureates, to talk to people and they could come in and speak with her as well.
There are two special things that she did as poet laureate that I highlighted and that I think are really important. One of the things she did was hold office hours, which means that anyone who's interested in poetry who wants to talk about his or her own poetry could come to the Library of Congress during those hours and sit down and speak with her.
Trethewey has also received a Cave Canem Poetry Prize for some of her work. In Montgomery, Kendall Moody, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Hall Waters Prize was endowed by Trojan alumnus Wade Hall. The award is presented to a person who has made a significant contributions to Southern heritage and culture.
A Troy University choral group went back to nature for a concert presented Friday night in Long Hall. Zwali has the story.
On Friday night, Troy University's collegiate singers presented a concert entitled The Art of Nature. The concert was performed on Earth Day, which director James Brown said was a planned and coincidence.
I think it's very related to Earth Day. I didn't have the intentions of doing it on Earth Day, but everything that was chosen for this concert was to try and make my students more aware of how beautiful our world is, and that technology sometimes gets in the way of that. That we become more engrossed with our cell phones and engrossed with what technology does for us by the touch of our finger. And instead of acknowledging what the beautiful world is around us and what we have to offer from that.
I think that's really cool that we were performing like the beauty of nature on Earth Day. So all of our songs today had to do with nature and how beautiful it is. And so being on Earth Day was kind of just coincidental.
Today is Earth Day. I believe the art of nature is not only a concert, but for more, it's mentioning people we should protect our beautiful world.
I grew up in the South, and I loved fishing with my grandparents and loved exploring those things. And to this day, I start doing that with my son now. He's 6 years old, and we enjoy going out and fishing, and I hope that my daughter will start doing that with us at some point. I just love nature, and that's just part of who I am, and I want my family to explore that, and I want my students to know that they can find security in being outside of a cell phone or technology, that they can get away for a little bit and just enjoy what nature has to offer.
Overall, the collegiate singers says they were pleased with the final performance of the semester.
I love today's concert. It was an honor to work with these students and to watch them develop throughout the semester and have an audience that was so receptive to our story.
I feel really good. The performance was really good. All the hard work we put in, like it was definitely a representation of the effort we put in.
Zuoli, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Music fans will get another chance to see what the School of Music has to offer tomorrow night as the music group Populous will perform a concert at 7 on the Bibb Graves Quad. And downtown Troy became a place for arts, crafts, food, and fun this past weekend.
As the city of Troy held their annual Troy Fest Arts and Crafts Festival on the square in downtown Troy, Nathaniel Rodriguez has the story.
Downtown Troy was bursting with activity over the weekend as artists from as far as Florida and Colorado came to show their works at the annual Troy Fest. There were sculptors, photographers, and even Blossom, a pig that paints and plays piano. There were also performances by various groups and solo performers. Aside from its entertainment value, the festival also brought economic benefits to the city.
But it brings people from all over into Troy, so staying in our hotels, spending money at our restaurants, this is a great not only economic development weekend for our community, but a real enjoyment as well.
Artists said they appreciated Troy's hospitality.
Oh, Troy Fest has been great. The ladies have fed us every meal. And every 5 minutes, somebody's bringing us cold water by. They can't be nicer. And the crowd has just been fabulous.
And it's always, the people are very nice, great town, real friendly. I love Troy Fest.
One Troy University student said the activity on the square was refreshing to see.
I mean, I just like to see Troy actually out doing something on a Saturday. It gives students something to do. Especially in small town Alabama, there's not really a lot to do here, and this is the busiest I've seen the square in my 2 years at Troy.
And even though the festival has existed for years, the momentum doesn't seem to be slowing down.
I mean, every year I think it's growing. It's getting larger and larger every year because there's a lot of more participants.
Another year, another success. Nathaniel Rodriguez, Troy TrojanVision News.
Troy Fest is held annually on the last full weekend in April. Still to come on Troy TrojanVision News, the Trojan football team hit the field on Saturday for this year's T-Day. Ryan Renfro has more in sports.
And we get an update on a drug that can treat a deadly muscle disease. Stay tuned.
I'm Danielle Nottingham in Los Angeles. Coming up, the fight to approve a drug to treat a deadly form of muscular dystrophy.
If a child with autism is missing, immediately search places that pose the most danger, such as nearby water and busy streets. For more ways to help, visit missingkids.com/aware.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you, and now you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy TrojanVision News.
The men and women's tennis teams were in action over the weekend in the Sun Belt Conference Championships. Now, starting off on the men's side, the Trojans looked to defend their Sun Belt championship, but fell in the quarterfinals to Appalachian State by a final of 4-1. For the women, the Trojans made it all the way to the semifinals, but saw the season come to an end after a 4-0 loss to Georgia State. This was the Trojans' second semifinals appearance in the last 3 years. The Trojan softball team was in action right here at home over the weekend with the conference matchup against Georgia Southern. The Trojans got off to a slow start in Saturday's game, losing game one, losing 8-1 with only one hit the entire game. But the Trojans fired back in game 2 of Saturday's doubleheader with a 13-5 win. Then came Sunday, the third and final game of the series and senior day for the Trojans. Khadijah Torbert has the details.
It was the last home game of the season for the Troy softball team Sunday evening. As the recognition of Senior Day wrapped up, the championship Sunday matchup began. And boy, did the Trojans have an awesome last homestand, winning 4-1 against Georgia Southern.
Anytime you can gut it out like we did, 4 runs on 5 hits, that's just gutting it out, and Ashley Rainey just gutted it out today, and that's what Championship Sunday is about, and I'm very proud that we were able to do that this Sunday.
It was the bottom of the first with 2 outs and 2 strikes remaining on the board for the Trojans, and the batters handled business. Both Kate Benton, who broke the school record for the most stolen bases, and Leah Brundish, who got her first career hit, drove the scoring in the very beginning, with Troy leading the score 3-0.
She's just a winner. She's the fastest kid I've probably ever coached, and she loves running, and every time she gets on base, there's a heavy likelihood she's going to take second. So, it doesn't surprise me at all that she broke that record, and I'm sure she has a lot more left in her this year. I was pumped. I was so glad we, got the opportunity for her to go in there, and first pitch she saw, she barreled it. It's giving me chill bumps right now thinking about it, but she's a winner, and you know, she's the leader on this team, and I think she was pumped, but I think the girls were probably more pumped for her than she was even pumped for herself. So that just shows what kind of teammate she is, and I think she deserved everything she got today.
With the scoreboard still lit up behind me, you can tell that today was a great championship Sunday. Head coach Beth Mullen says the seniors definitely went out with a bang.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good day. We had a great crowd, and all 7 of our seniors, I mean, just had great days. I mean, and it's so rare that you can say that, but I think every single one of them either had an RBI or a hit today, and then Ashley Rainey, of course, throwing a complete game, you know, giving up 1 run. I mean, just very proud of them. I mean, they've represented this university so well, and I mean, there's no better way to go out than the way they just went out at their home stadium. So I'm sad it's our last game at home. I love playing at home, but we got a lot of softball left, so we're excited about it.
Although Georgia Southern scored in the top of the 4th, a home run in the bottom of the 5th by Amanda Winters topped the game off, pushing the Trojans to the 4-1 win. Khadija Torbert, Troy, TrojanVision Sports.
The Trojans will hit the road this weekend for a series against UT Arlington. The first game will be Saturday at 1 p.m. The Trojan baseball team faced off against UT Arlington over the weekend and won the first game by a final of 5-2. But what a difference a game makes. The Trojans fell to the Mavericks in the second game of the series 18-5 and look to close out the series with a win on Sunday. Jamal Kennedy has the highlights.
In the 3 years that UT Arlington has been in the Sun Belt Conference, the Trojans have yet to take a series from them on the diamond. It will remain that way for another year as the Trojans drop the rubber match to the Mavericks by a final score of 4-2.
Very disappointing to say the least. To lose a series at home with a lead in the 8th, lot to be disappointed about.
Offensively, the Trojans had several opportunities to cash in with runners on base, most notably in the middle innings where they had runners on 2nd and 3rd with less than 2 outs.
2nd, 3rd, nobody out, base running mistake. In the 5th, couldn't get the next hit. Bases loaded, 1 out in the 6th. Not a very good turn. Ground ball to 3rd by Chase. Didn't get a ball off the bat, and then struck out of the strike zone. So those failures added to the loss.
The Trojans would take the lead, however, 2-1 behind a fine outing by Lucas Brown. That was before Arlington tied the game in the 8th inning.
Well, Lucas was great. I mean, he threw a great ball game and deserved to win. We should have spread the game out with a lead in the 5th or 6th, and we weren't able to do that. And just too many mistakes, Jerry. Evidently, I've got to do a better job of getting our kids ready to compete the right way.
With no midweek game coming up this week, Coach Smart reminds us that his players are still just college kids, just like the rest of us.
Sometimes we always forget that these kids are, in class, going to school, trying to make their grades, out here working hard, and they're kids. They make mistakes. I love them, regardless of the outcome. Man, I love this group. They've given me a lot, and they'll continue to do that. So it's an important week for them to regroup, get ready for their final exams, finish the semester the right way.
Matt Saunders shone for the Trojans, going 3 for 4 with the home run and driving in both runs for the Trojans. Jamal Kennedy, Troy, TrojanVision Sports.
The Trojans return to the diamond on Friday, this time out in Texas for a road matchup against Texas State. Friday's game will begin at 6 p.m. The Trojan football team took the field on Saturday for this year's T-Day. Jamal Kennedy has the highlights from Veterans Memorial Stadium.
Trojan fans, Saturday at Veterans Memorial Stadium was a chance to catch your Trojans for the first time this spring or the last time before the fall after Saturday's T-Day scrimmage.
Great Saturday afternoon here in Veterans Stadium, and we couldn't ask for a better day weather-wise. Thought we had really good energy. Proud of our fans for showing up. Thought we had a good turnout. We had a really good Trojan walk coming in.
The day moved along pretty slow offensively for the Trojans, something that Coach Brown knows his guys must address before the fall.
Clearly our defense is ahead of our offense right now. I think it's really clear. We've got to protect the passer much better. We've got to get healthy at running back. Today was the second day that Chun's practiced, so conditioning-wise, he wasn't at a point where he could play a whole lot. And then Ryan Kay's got to be more consistent than he was today.
The defense, however, was looking like they could take on Austin Peay tomorrow, as they had 2 interceptions and scored the game's first touchdown.
But I think our front 7 defensively has a chance to be pretty good, upper echelon in our league. And we give people some problems in the pass rush game. And I think we've got some depth at D-tackle, which is unique at our level.
And we're looking to go into next season more dominant than ever. Man. I mean, as a defense, we got juniors and seniors, and I mean, we're trying our best to lead and do the right thing and try to come out with a conference championship this year. Man.
We're just trying to take one play at a time and challenge every yard and not make mistakes and play hard and try to have fun.
After today's spring battle, the question of the day seemed to be, what can the team hope to improve on as they move into summer workouts?
Our whole operation has to be faster. We don't operate fast enough. We're not efficient enough. We make too many mistakes. So You know, and we've looked good in practice. We had our best practice of the year. You were here on Thursday. I mean, we went up and down the field offensively, but just not as consistent as we need to be right now.
If there's one group that's definitely in midseason form, it's the Sound of the South. Jamal Kennedy, Troy TrojanVision Sports.
The Trojans will open up their season on September 3rd in Veterans Memorial Stadium against Austin Peay.